G'day, Cliff Morgan here, leadership expert and organisational psychologist. I wanted to take a quick moment and just explain our approach here at Lumian towards teams, team performance, and the journey towards becoming a high performance team, or what we might call a luminary team. I'll talk through a couple of models and concepts that will really give you an understanding of how we approach this important aspect of work. The first concept that we talk about relates to team performance, and there's two elements of how a team operates that produces or drives the performance of the team. First, we have the mechanics. This is the things that teams do. It is the technical work of the team, the activities, the tasks, the way that they go about it in order to achieve results and goals and all those metrics and hard quantifiable elements of success and performance. The second element here is the dynamics, and that's all about how the team goes about the mechanics. It's about how they interact with one another and engage with each other. And it really drives the experience that people have in the team. Now, when we come in and we start working with different teams, what we'll often find is that teams will have either a bias one way or the other. They'll spend a lot of time on the mechanics and not much on the dynamics, or in some cases we find the reverse. A lot of time on the experience and the dynamics of the team, but just not enough on doing the technical work and putting things in place in order to achieve results. And the reality is teams are never going to spend 100% 50-50, an equal balance between the two. But what we need to understand is that we need to constantly be revisiting each of the two elements of team performance. We can't spend all our time on the mechanics and never visit the dynamics. And at the same time, we can't spend all our time focusing on dynamics and never discuss and get clear on and improve the mechanics of how the team works. We've got to constantly be revisiting. We might spend more time one side than the other, depending on the context, the scenario, and the environment that we work in, but we've constantly got to be oscillating between the two. And what I often say is that if the dynamics die, the mechanics fail. And if the mechanics start failing, then the dynamics get put under pressure. So we constantly have to be maintaining and sustaining both elements of team performance. Now, the other kind of model that we use in this space, we call the journey of team performance. And you can see that there's 5 levels of team performance. And if we start down at level number 1, we can see that teams are in conflict. And obviously, if teams are in conflict, then that conflict is going to drain resources from the organization. Rather than produce value for the organization or business that they're in, that team is actually going to drain resources in order to try and resolve the conflict. The performance is not going to be there. And so really the focus at that level needs to be good quality communication and getting that right, because you can't solve a conflict if communication is not happening. If you're not speaking to each other, then you're not going to deal with the issues. And once we get to that next level, or level 2 of team performance, really that's a functioning team. So they are doing kind of what is expected of them and no more. It's the bare minimum. You can see that they are providing some value for the organization. There is a level of basic performance that's occurring there. And really what we need to focus on at that level is developing the trust between team members. So when team members trust each other, they start supporting one another, they can rely on one another, that is when the team becomes more than the sum of its parts. And that's when performance starts to increase significantly. And so level 3, we actually start to get a performing team. So here's where they're hitting all their goals. They're doing more than the bare minimum, and they're really starting to produce some value for the organization. And here, the focus for the team needs to be clarity. Clarity is the mechanism by which they turn performance into high performance, because when they get clear around what the purpose of the team is, what they are trying to achieve, how they're going to go about that, how they contribute to the strategy and how they operate and function together, they can be really intentional about stepping up what they need to in order to increase that performance. When they're all on the same page, going in the same direction, that's when the increase starts to really accelerate. And that's where we get to the HPT, the high performance team. And once we get to this level, really the focus shifts to accountability. And the team needs to be accountable and hold itself accountable to the approaches, the behaviors, all the things that made it high performance in the first place. A lot of teams will get to this high performing thing. They'll start exceeding expectations and overachieve goals, and they'll rest on their laurels. They'll take their foot off the accelerator, and really they slip down. Performance starts to drop again. So what they need to do is maintain accountability, and it's not just the leader of that team providing accountability to team members. It is the team itself holding itself accountable. All the members are holding each other to account. And finally, this aspirational level, there's level 5, this very high performance team, or what often we call luminary teams. That's where you get the maximum level of performance. You produce the maximum level of value for your organization. And the focus shifts at that level to this concept of Kaizen. So if you're not aware of that concept, it comes out of the Toyota way in Japan, and it's very much associated with continuous improvement. It's always looking for the 1% and 2% gains, and how can we improve the way that we're doing things. We're not just going to sit where we are at this high level of performance. We're always looking to improve in some way. And there's another element to this whole Kaizen philosophy, and that is influence beyond borders and boundaries. And so if we get a team at this level, what we expect is that other teams will start coming to them. Their influence will start to reach right across the organization, not just in their department or silo, but other people right across the organization will be coming to them saying, hey, you're doing great work. How can we learn from you? How can we take what you're doing and replicate that in our space? And what often happens at that highest level is the influence also goes beyond the organization. So other organizations or other people within the industry start to look to that particular team as well. And so that influence not only goes beyond the borders of their department and their team and reporting lines and those sorts of things, it goes beyond the borders of the organization and starts having a positive impact in the broader industry. The team becomes an industry leader at that space. So really, they're the key concepts of the journey towards being a luminary team, and it gives you a bit of an understanding around what we're trying to achieve, whether it's a workshop, whether it's coaching, whether it's some sort of variation or hybrid between the two. At Lumion, we're looking to use those concepts and models as a foundation to help people and their leaders and their teams move constantly up towards being a luminary team, not only high performing, but incredibly influential right across their sphere. I hope that's helpful for you. If you've got any questions you'd like to discuss, please reach out and find me on LinkedIn, or you can contact us via the website at lumion.com.au. Until next time, lead well.